Hyperarousal is like an alarm system on steroids, a state where your body and mind are constantly alert, triggered by everyday situations. But here's the catch. It can turn even the most stable lives into a roller coaster of chaos. Here is how. Meet John, a hardworking father and a good provider for his family. He is loving and gentle, but when his children catch him distracted, his reaction is disproportionate, and his children end up more scared than he is. He often startles intensely, turns pale and puts his hands to his chest. Other times, when the children accidentally break something in the kitchen, he screams furiously and says bad words. I'm sure you know anyone who reacts this way. Maybe you can even recognize yourself reacting like this. John's disproportionate responses to an everyday stimulus indicate that he is in a state of hyperarousal, trying to survive, and his fight or flight system is permanently active. Hyperarousal is a state in which physical and psychological tension increases, thanks to the activation of the sympathetic fight-flight system, which protects us very well if we need to escape or defend ourselves from a dog that wants to bite us. But when faced with the activities of daily life, it causes anxiety, exaggerated startle response, anger attacks, insomnia, and lack of concentration. People affected with post-traumatic stress syndrome and other trauma-related disorders usually deal with hyperactivity states. Their fight-flight system becomes active in daily situations, such as loud sounds, for example, a car crash, screams on TV, or being touched while distracted. It causes an increase in heart rate and breathing. Their muscles tense and instantly enter into a state of alertness. This state produces a considerable energy expenditure. The longer you remain there, the more physically and emotionally drained you feel. Your ability to function in daily life decreases, and family and social relationships are affected. To alleviate the stress generated by this state of hyperfunctioning, people try to cope with it through behaviors that may be effective in the short term. Still, they may be destructive and harmful in the medium or long term. These coping behaviors are things like betting or overspending, compulsive habits such as cleaning or overworking, or substance abuse, particularly alcohol or opiates. In contrast to these destructive coping mechanisms, there are healthier ways to deal with these hyperarousal symptoms, to decrease the intensity of the emotions and get into a state of emotional stability. It stays in our window of tolerance, a psychological state in which you function in harmony with yourself and the environment around you. The first step for John to solve his situation is to recognize that he may be a person living with some traumatic disorder and that he needs the support of specialists in this area who will select the best form of treatment and will be able to teach him more efficient coping mechanisms to deal with his symptoms. Mind-body exercises work great to alleviate the physical and psychological responses to hyperarousal. Mindfulness, yoga, grounding, and self-soothing allow us to get to know ourselves, learn to self-manage our emotions and feelings safely, and be present where and when we are. Staying in touch with your support network, therapist, trusted friends, and family is also important. Trust in your ability to learn healthier behaviors to self-regulate. It is completely possible to avoid and control these states, which might be problematic for you, and especially for others around you. In this video, we talk about hyperarousal, its consequences in daily life, and some tools to manage it. If you have any experience with hyperarousal situations, leave it in the comments. We will happily support you and make more videos like this one to deep dive into the concepts.